This is the Patriots Drive Podcast.
We are all Patriots.
Where we discuss, analyze, and answer questions to all things happening in the NFL and with our New England Patriots. Now, here's your host, Cole Kelly.
Let's go!
Welcome into another edition of the Patriots Drive Podcast. Patriots take on the Indianapolis Colts, who are 7-6 on the year, riding a little bit of a hot streak, playing on as well as the Patriots are right now in some phases of the game. Their running game is incredible. We'll touch on that more, obviously, but they're playing good football right now. So it's going to be a heck of a game. Both teams coming off their bye weeks, rested. Seems like the Colts injury report-wise are a little more rested than the Patriots, but it's going to be a good one. Colts playing at their place in their dome, so weather conditions aren't really going to be a factor like they were in Buffalo last week. But I'm excited to see this game. It's gonna be a big game for both teams. If the Patriots keep winning football games, if they win out, they control their own destiny and they're the number one seed in the AFC. But if they lose this game, that drops them down to maybe the 3 or 4 seed in the AFC, and you don't want to give Buffalo a chance to come back because we got a game against them next week. So it's gonna be a big game. The Colts, if they win this game, it ups their chances of making the playoffs by like 30 or 40%, something crazy like that. So they're gonna be motivated. They want to win. They think they have what it takes to stop the run game and stop this offense. Some of the comments they've made this week, but it's gonna be a fun one. I'm here with my co-host Jace Campbell. How's it going, Jace?
It's going good. It's good to be back after the bye week. Excited to watch some more Patriots football and continue to watch this team roll. And I'm excited to see how their game plan is coming off of an unprecedented game where they ran it, 46 times, threw it 3 times, and they were able to pull out a win. So it's going to be a lot better conditions. You said it, in the dome. Like, this is football weather. It's going to be interesting to see what their offensive game plan is. We heard one of the Colts linebackers straight up come out and say it, like, we're going to make Mac show us. And I personally think that this is a game that Mac starts putting respect on his name after all the critics were saying, oh, they only ran it they only threw it 3 times against Buffalo because they don't trust Mac Jones. He's not the guy. They're just relying on the run game, blah, blah, blah. This is the game for Mac Jones to come stick it to him and show that he can, get it done. And I'm excited to see what New England has coming off the bye. So excited. We keep playing these top AFC teams. Other than us, Indianapolis might be the hottest team in the AFC. So they started off a little bumpy, but now they're picking things up. So I'm excited to see where we stand and how this team is coming off a bye week.
It's going to be a big test, not only for Mac Jones, but our rushing defense, our defense as a whole. We struggled against the Titans with second, third string running back. And actually 2 of their running backs who were backups we struggled with, led up a ton of yards. Overall in the year, though, our defense has been pretty solid against the run. So Jonathan Taylor is the top tier test. This Colts offensive line is one of the best in the league, probably the best line when healthy in the league. Jonathan Taylor is playing as the best running back in the league right now. He runs so hard, so physical, hard to tackle, especially late in the year when guys are banged up. Not everybody wants to tackle a guy like Jonathan Taylor running full speed at you. So he can make a couple guys miss and take it to the house very easily. And he's shown that this year. And that's why he's having such a tremendous year. So it's going to be a big test for our defense to try to hold this guy in check. Anytime Jonathan Taylor has 100 yards rushing, they're 7-0 on the year. So that's going to be a big challenge for our defense, holding this guy who's so hot to under 100 yards rushing and trying to force Carson Wentz to beat us with his arm and not be able to rely on that play action as much. So it's going to be a big test, but for Mac Jones as well, I think he's going to have plenty of opportunities to prove himself this game. The Patriots, the Colts said it themselves. They're going to try to stop the run. Maybe they're playing a little gamesmanship and maybe they're trying to just mess with, maybe they're saying they're going to try to stop the run and then they're going to drop into coverage all game or whatever that is. But I think Mac is definitely going to have his opportunities to throw the football. Running backs, hopefully Damian is healthy enough to go, and him and RHAMONDRE, Brandon Bolden, all these guys. But I think there is going to be a lot of Mac's play this game, and I think, like you said, it's going to be a great opportunity for him to prove himself even more.
Yeah, and you talked about it. It's going to be a very tough game with the offensive line. They came into the season ranked second on offensive line behind Cleveland. They've slipped up a little bit, but that's due to they've had 10 different offensive linemen used this season. And you can think of New England. Well, I can think of 8, maybe 9 that we've used. So they've been kind of banged up like we have, but lately they've been getting healthy. They're consistently getting big holes for Jonathan Taylor to run through. And it doesn't take much for Jonathan Taylor to run through. He's going to run through tackles. He's going to beat you with speed. He can catch the ball in the backfield. he's turning into a complete back, a top 5 back in this league and stuff. So getting him health or getting that offensive line healthy again is helping this Colts team just like it helped New England. So it'll be interesting to see. We have some great pass rushers though. They are giving up. Sorry, I just pulled this off. They're giving up the 6th most pressures in the league, 152 this year so far. Most of those coming from their right tackle, which I expect Matt Judon to take advantage of. Dietrich Wise, Christian Barmore inside if he's not on Quinn and Nelson. And so it will be interesting. So I'm excited to see this team. And I think Carson Wentz has played a lot better in Indy than he did in Philly those last couple of years. But we talked about it with Sam Darnold. We've talked about it with guys like you don't lose the turnovers. Like he still is turnover prone. If we get pressure on him and put him in situations, I still believe that we can see a 3 interception day out of Carson Wentz, even though he's played better as a whole this season. And that's what the Patriots defense is known for, is making these quarterbacks uncomfortable, making them feel like they have to do more than what they're capable of. And then we take advantage of it. So I'm looking for New England to get pressure on him early and often, because if we are shutting down that run game, then, we're going to have to get back to him, because Michael Pittman's a great receiver. T.Y. Hilton has done his thing for years, and I'm not scared of him at all, but, he's a veteran in the league. You got to respect, and they have a couple young guns. So this is a tough test all around by our defense and their defense has been playing great too. So I'm excited to see how this whole matchup is.
Yeah, for sure. Pat Scout, we're doing good. How are you doing? But speaking of that offensive line, their starting center, Ryan Kelly, did not participate today with a knee/illness/personal. So he's questionable for this weekend. We'll see what his status is come game time. But yeah, that offensive line is great, but there's still turnover. Carson Wentz, you can still get turnovers out of Carson Wentz, and it's not only through the air. Like if you look at his stats throughout the year, we'll pull it up right now. It's not bad. He only has 5 interceptions, but he's also prone to fumbles. He tries to make something out of nothing a little bit too often, and he doesn't really know when to give up on a play. And when he does know when to give up and when he keeps himself in check, he's playing at a really high level of football right now. He's playing pretty solid. But that's the thing with him, is he tries to extend plays too much sometimes, and he kind of gets careless with the football, whether he runs out of the pocket and tries to make a throw he shouldn't try to make, or runs out of the pocket, tries to break 3 tackles and still throw the ball, and he fumbles. I think he has somewhere around like 8 fumbles on the year, something like that. So he's prone to putting the ball on the ground. But this Colts team in general is first in the league in turnover margin or turnover differential right now, I believe. Pats are second, right behind him. So this is going to be a game about which team wins the turnover battle. I think it's going to be huge, because when the Colts win the turnover battle, that's why they're so hot right now, is because they're winning that battle every single game. That's why they're playing so well. That's why the Patriots are playing so well. I mean, plus 13 turnover differential in the past 6-7 weeks or whatever it is for the Patriots. That's crazy. That's really good. That's a recipe for success. So it's going to be about not allowing them to get turnovers from our offense. Biggest thing in my eyes is ball security from the running backs. I'm mostly concerned about that, because this team, the Colts, are the only team in the NFL that has 13 forced fumbles, and they have recovered every single one of them, which is kind of crazy to think about. Every single fumble they forced, they recovered so far. A lot of team speed on their defense, fast linebackers. They got a lot of really talented guys on the defensive side of the ball. So ball security is going to be huge, especially if Damian Harris is limited this game. I'm assuming he's going to suit up, but he might be a little bit limited with that hamstring injury. They tend to linger, so he's probably not going to be 100%. RHAMONDRE Stevenson, it's going to be a big test for him as well. Holding on to the football, trying not to take too many extra yards and too many hits, and loose. Make sure you're covering the ball and protecting that rock, because that's going to be a big factor in this game. If these running backs can hold on to the ball, and if we don't turn the ball over on offense, I think we win this football game.
For sure. And the Colts, they get fumbles. They also give up fumbles. They're top 4 in the league. They've had 10 fumbles lost so far this year. Their turnover margin, you said it was, they are first in the league at plus, now this isn't going to work, plus 13, Green Bay's plus 12, and then Arizona and New England tied at plus 10. So you're getting 2 top 4 teams in the league that not only don't give the ball up a lot, but they create turnovers. So I agree with you. The number one thing, holding on to the ball. We saw fumble issues early in the year. Haven't seen them as much of late. Haven't seen Mac Jones make too many awful mistakes, outside of the one in the Falcons game where he throws an interception. So if both of these teams want to continue this winning streak that they're on and continue the climb in the AFC, they got to hold on to the football. And this could be a game where you don't see any turnovers. Maybe it's just a very clean football game, and you get both offenses operating very well, and it's a high quality team between two of the AFC's best. So I'm excited to see. I can see both. I can see one team forcing a lot of turnovers. Hopefully, it's the Patriots forcing them and the Colts giving them up. And then I could also see, it just being a clean football game where both teams are very similar. They can throw it if they want to, and they're capable of it, but they want to run the ball first, and they want to get takeaways and short fields and punch the ball in the red zone. So it's a very similar scheme for both these teams right here, and it's going to be interesting who perfects it better. And for me, I don't know how you don't give the edge to Belichick, especially coming off of a bye week. You're giving both teams a bye week, but I mean, even if the Patriots weren't coming off a bye week, I still give Belichick the head coaching advantage. He's the greatest coach of all time and stuff. So I'm excited to see this matchup here. Both teams rested, and I expect a very, very good, clean football game where you're healthy, you're rested, and you're getting two teams that are playing great. I don't expect it to be kind of sloppier like we saw. Not that the Buffalo game wasn't sloppy, but just, not good conditions. You're going to get in the dome. You're going to get pristine conditions here for a Saturday night football game right around Christmas time. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of touching back on Carson Wentz for a second, his passer rating when clean in the pocket, 106.2. Passer rating when under pressure, 75.5. So his passer rating drops 31 when he's under pressure. So getting him under pressure, trying to force him to throw some balls up for grabs. This Patriots offense has been great at applying pressure to the quarterback, and it's going to be the toughest challenge so far, trying to apply pressure to this guy with this offensive line that they have. But it's going to be fun to watch. It should be. I mean, obviously it's in a dome, so it's ideal conditions. It's going to be nice weather. You're not going to have to worry about any external factors like that. It's just going to be who can play the cleanest game of football, which running game, which opponent controls the line of scrimmage best on both sides of the ball. That's going to determine who wins this game. Turnovers, who owns the line of scrimmage, and just overall the amount of pressure that each team can put on the opposing quarterback. Because I think that, like I said, Carson Wentz, when he's under pressure, his pass rating drops. Obviously, Mac Jones, his drops 20 as opposed to 30 like Carson Wentz. So obviously any quarterback under pressure is a little bit worse than when they got a clean open pocket and plenty of time. But overall, this Colts defense likes to play a lot of zone coverage, and I think that's something that this Patriots offense is going to love. I mean, when you play man coverage, you can kind of man up one-on-one on the bodies we have on the outside, and I think that's kind of more ideal way to play. It's harder for offenses to have success against good man coverage. So them playing zone, letting Josh McDaniels scheme up different zone beaters and all that stuff, and Mac Jones flooding the zones and throwing it to the right guy, I think it's going to be huge. So if they continue to play the amount of zone coverage that they have been playing, I think putting the game in Mac's hands is not going to be smart for them, because Mac Jones is going to tear them apart. So I'm excited to see that. I hope they play zone. I hope they continue to do that and let Mac Jones cook, because that's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think that Mac Jones can pass in any type of defense, but I like the way that he passes in zone, especially. He can sit there. He can, figure out if they're in man or zone right off of the motion, because you're going to see a lot of motions either from the running back, a short motion with JAKOBI or Kendrick, someone like that coming in to figure out if they are in man or zone. And then you're going to be able to have quick, easy reads by Mac Jones, and he's going to, dink and dunk, and then hopefully hit a shot when they get into man coverage. And when you're in zone, they're going to be able to find holes in play action game and stuff like that. I'm excited for this. I really don't think that the Colts can get away with running a lot of zone. Like, I know that they're going to stick with their strengths, but they got to mix it up, because I just see Mac Jones being a very good zone passer where he's accurate. He can fit it through tight windows. He knows when and where to throw the ball. And I think that he's going to be able to effectively pick them apart in the dome where it's perfect weather, where he's used to playing. Alabama is like that. It was, very, very good weather. He played in the dome in the national championship, threw for almost 500 yards. Like, he's comfortable in that setting. People say he's not comfortable in the cold. I don't know a lot of people that are their rookie year. It's a miserable thing to play in, but he's going to be, comfortable in their conditions wise, and he's going to be able to find open guys and hit them on time. So I'm excited to see how he operates against this defense, because they've been playing great too. They've been playing, second to none almost. There's the Patriots defense up there that's playing the best, and the Colts here, obviously with Darius Leonard, Rocky Sin, guys like that on the perimeter and stuff like that. They have very, very capable defenders that can cause havoc both in the run and pass game.
Yeah, and Kenny Moore as well. He has 4 interceptions on the year so far. He's a guy that Patriots are going to have to pay attention to. He might be locked in on JAKOBI Meyers or maybe Kendrick Bourne. We'll see what they do there. But one factor that we haven't talked about yet is the officials. The officiating crew that we have throws the second most flags in the NFL so far this year, and they throw the most pass interference, offensive and defensive. So that's going to be one thing. And if they play primarily zone coverage throughout the entire year, and all of a sudden they try to switch to man coverage against the Patriots because the Patriots are better against zone typically, they're probably not going to be as used to playing man coverage. They might be a little more sloppy with their technique, and they might be prone to some pass interference calls. So that might be one thing to watch out for. Same thing on the other side of the ball for us, though, is it kind of stinks. If you're putting a lot of bodies to the run game, you might have some one-on-ones outside man coverage, and we'll see what J.C. Jackson can do on a big guy like Michael Pittman, usually 6'3" receiver. I think he's 6'3", 6'4", something like that, against like a 5'10" corner. Usually the 5'10" corner might have to get a little more physical to try to break up a pass or something like that. So I'm a little bit concerned on both sides of the ball with all the flags. I don't want to see a flag-happy game. That's kind of what they were, that they've been all season, this officiating crew. So I don't really want to see that. I don't want to see anybody getting bailed out too much, but overall, it might play a little bit into both teams' hands depending on what type of coverage they play and how used to playing man coverage they are when they play so much zone.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because, like you said, when you're having a 6'4", 220-pound receiver like Michael Pittman on you and you're J.C. Jackson and you're barely scratching 6 feet, you got to be physical at the line of scrimmage. You got to be physical so that he can't get the jump balls. And I fully trust J.C. Jackson. I'm not doubting him. But then you look at our other guys. You got Jawan Williams that might be out there, and you got Jalen Mills. Like, these are big physical corners that want to get their hands on it. That's just the type of style New England wants to play. You think of Kyle Duggar, like, these guys are physical dudes that want to play physical with the receivers and make them uncomfortable. So yeah, it's a little scary. You think back to the game. I forget what game it was a couple weeks ago that had like 14 penalties for one team and 13 for the other. It might have been Dallas on Thanksgiving or something. It was a flag. Yep. It was the Dallas Saints Thanksgiving game. I'm pretty sure it was flag happy. It was like 25 total penalties, almost 30. It was ridiculous. And no one wants to see that, especially a game just like this where it's very big and it has a lot of meaning to it. And it's going to be prime time Saturday night. You don't want to see the officials take control of the game like that. So yeah, I hope that this can be a clean game and you're going to get your fair share of calls. I mean, it's bound to happen, but I hope that it's within reason and we're not just throwing the flag to throw the flag because it's fun.
Yeah, that was the Raiders-Cowboys game on Thanksgiving. That was crazy. There were so many flags. I mean, that one guy was getting abused with pass interference calls that entire game. I think he had like 4 of them on him or something. I can't remember who it was, but yeah. So that's going to be one thing to watch out for, and that kind of sucks. The officiating this year has kind of been something that has been talked about more than usual, I feel like, but it's something you can't control. I just hope they throw them evenly. I hope it's not one-sided because sometimes it tends to lean towards that depending on how teams like to play the game. If one team's more physical and the other's not, they might throw flags on the physical team or might throw it, you know what I mean? So we'll see how that plays out. But going to kind of rankings for both teams, they're pretty similar. Run play percentage, the Patriots run at 46% of the time. The Colts run at 43%. Pass plays, Patriots 54, the Colts 57. So pretty even play call wise. Both teams like to run the ball kind of more than most teams in general. They're both really balanced offenses. So the Patriots can beat you both ways, and so can the Colts. So it's going to be fun to watch. The defense, the Patriots are ranked 2nd right now via PFF, and the Colts are ranked 5th. So both great defenses, both really balanced offenses that can beat you 2 different types of ways. They can run the football down your throat, and if you're not stopping it, then they'll run it. Jonathan Taylor will run for 5 touchdowns. But if you put too many bodies in there to try to stop the run, they can play action. They got a great offensive line, and they can pick you apart with Michael Pittman, T.Y. Hilton, and those guys. So it's going to be a really competitive game for 2 teams that I think are really similar and are playing really good football right now.
Yeah, Indianapolis 203 rushing yards per game in the last 3 games. New England's 153.7. So like you mentioned, like this could be a very quick game too. Like these teams might want to just bleed the clock out with the run game and not many incompletions, clock stopping, which I hope that's not it. And obviously I think that they are going to have to pass because both teams know. Belichick and the Colts, like they know that you have to stop the run and try to make this team one-dimensional, both teams one-dimensional if you want a chance to win. So
Yep.
I'm excited to see how both of it goes. But yeah, if you don't stop the run game for the Colts or the Patriots, it's a long day. Just ask the Bills. Like I think the Patriots ruined the Bills. They mentally ruined the Buffalo Bills the last 2 weeks because of all the media things coming at them. And then
I love seeing Fournette run for that touchdown. Touchdown early in that game.
I mean, I think that they ruined them, and that's what it does. It's a physical aspect of the game that few teams have. Like you look at I've said this before, you look at the Chiefs, you look at teams like that are air raid offenses that want to throw the ball down the field all half the game or more than that. They don't physically scare you like New England or Indianapolis does. Quentin Nelson, Jonathan Taylor physically wear you down as a linebacker, defensive lineman. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, guys like that probably don't wear you down nearly as much as these guys do. Derrick Henry, guys on the offensive line for Tennessee, they wear you down. Like there's certain teams that physically wear you down, and then there's certain teams that don't. And so this is going to be a tough physical game between two hard-nosed football teams that want to do it the old-fashioned way. You're not seeing many teams that want to line up and run the ball as much as these two teams do. So it's going to be a little different, but it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, they got a bunch of talented guys on their defense, like that can dominate the line of scrimmage. DeForest Buckner is a stud. I mean, he's one of the best interior defensive players in the NFL. He's really solid, along with Darius Leonard as a linebacker. He can beat you physically and with speed. He can fly all over the place. He has a 64 coverage grade as a linebacker, which, I mean, he's their sixth highest graded coverage player on their team. Not too bad. He can fly around a little bit. He's not having as good of a coverage year as he has in the past because he's been dealing with an ankle injury, kind of a nagging ankle injury. So I think he's a little bit less nimble. He's a little bit, I guess, slower right now, you could say, but he's coming off a bye week. He's probably going to be fresh. He's a guy I'm worried about. If they do play zone coverage, they have guys like Darius Leonard, who as linebackers, if they're run committing and we do a play action, it might look like we can throw it right over the middle to Jonnu Smith for a 15, 20-yard completion, but Darius Leonard might be backing up quickly and jump right up and grab that. So we got to be aware of those linebackers who can fly all over the place. They're defensive linemen who can stop the run, but also they can get some pressure on the passer depending on how many guys they commit to that. So it's going to be interesting to see what their game plan is. I think they're definitely, like they said, they're going to try to stop the run and make Mac Jones beat him. But I think it's a good formula for if we can be physically dominant enough to run the ball run the ball semi-effectively and keep them having to put bodies towards the run, and then play action game is going to be a lot better, and we can kind of pick them apart if they're playing zone coverage or even man coverage. We got some guys who have been pretty solid against that so far this year.
Yeah, you talked about the defense and how great they've been. New England has allowed 250 yards per game the last 3 games, 310 all year. Indianapolis allowing 270 yards per game in the last 3 games. So you're getting two defenses that are playing the best football that most defenses has. You think Kansas City's played great the last couple of weeks. There's Dallas had, a stretch of playing good defense and stuff. So you're getting 2 great defensive teams here and 2 offensive teams that are very, very capable of being explosive. They're not the explosive offenses in the NFL like the BUCS, the Bills, at times the Chiefs, the Chargers with Herbert, the Cowboys even. Like they're not that explosive team, but they can very easily, we've seen it multiple times. We've seen New England put up 35 plus points. We've seen the Colts put up points. Like these teams can wear you down, and they're going to chip away at you with the run game, and then they're going to hit dink and dunks, and then they're going to hit occasionally a big ball, and by big ball, you think of a 20, 30, 40-yard pass down the field, but that for them is where their explosive plays come from because teams are selling out to stop the run, and the linebackers are so aggressive. That's why I look at Darius Leonard and Bobby Oker. I think it's Okereke. I might be pronouncing that wrong.
I think you're right.
Something weird like that, but they want to come down and be physical in the run game. So you're either going to have them stop in the run where now our play action passes isn't going to be as effective because they feel like they don't have to come down as fast, or you're going to have where the run game is being so potent and dangerous that these guys have to fly down. And now that's where you get the Jonnu Smith, the Hunter Henry, Kendrick Bourne across the middle that are wide open. So it really does start with the run game because their best players, DeForest Buckner, Darius Leonard, Bobby Okereke, those guys want to be physical in the run game. And if you can get them feeling like they have to get down in the box and get down at the line of scrimmage fast, that's where Mac Jones and the Patriots are going to take advantage. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be really interesting to see. I think it's a kind of a test your manhood game for both teams. Is they both want to be the more physical, dominant team on both sides of the ball. Honestly, if we can stop the run and they can't, that looks a lot better for us. If we can't stop the run and they can, looks a lot better for them. Chances of winning the game. So it's gonna definitely be about that. Who can be more physically dominant? Who can stop the run and who can force the opposing quarterback to make more plays with less guys in the box? Because if we can stop the run with, a normal amount of players in the box, and we don't have to advocate 8-9 guys in the box, then it's going to be a lot easier for us to play coverage and a lot easier for us to try to force Carson Wentz into some mistake throws and get some pressure on him. So stopping the run in general, if you can stop the run, it makes the opposing offense so much more one-dimensional. If you can't stop the run, they can kill you with play action. They can kill you running the ball. They can kill you if you're playing man-to-man, if you're being too aggressive, your linebackers jumping up, committing to the run, and then trying to run back in time. So this is going to be a big game for guys like Jawan Bentley, Devon Godchaw, Hightower, all those guys that you kind of are more are run-stopping players. It's going to be a big game for them. They're going to have to be involved, and we're going to see at the end of the day who's the more physically dominant team and who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, it really is a trust your man game. You're going to have Dante Hightower, Kyle Van Noy, guys like that have been playing good football. They're going to have to continue to play good football and be physical. And you hope that they don't get worn down because they are getting up there in age. And this is going to be a physical game. And I don't doubt their physicalness. I think Jawan Bentley will be great. Godchow, Guy, Dietrich Wise, all those guys in the front seven. And then you add Kyle Duggar, Adrian Phillips. Like those guys are going to have to be dudes. And I'm not questioning them at all because I know that they're ready and I know that Bill will have them ready. But this is a game that, this is a make your money game because you look at Kyle Duggar, Adrian Phillips. Those are guys that you look at that you say, okay, we need you to defend the run effectively and defend the pass effectively. And then you look at Kyle Van Noy. Those guys are like, we need you to defend the run effectively and defend the pass effectively because if we're not defending the run, play action sucks. So you got to defend the run first and then be able to get out and play action. So this is a game where multiple guys are going to have to do their job effectively in multiple aspects of the game. If, we're dominating up front, front seven wise with Godchow, Judon, guys like that, it makes it a lot easier for the back end. If we feel like we have to put 7, 8, hopefully not 9 guys in the box because they're going big personnel, then, maybe it's a little more scary for JC Jackson, guys like that on the outside that feel like they're more on islands and they don't have help. So yeah, we've hit on it. I don't know how much more we can say, but like stopping the run, number one for both teams in this game.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be, obviously a huge factor like we've talked about so far, but you got anything else before you want to move on to the line?
No, I don't.
All right. So Patriots at Colts, obviously, in the Dome, Saturday night, 8:20 p.m. Colts -2. They're favored at home in this game. So what do you got for this one?
It doesn't surprise. Okay, I'll take that back. It does surprise me, but then again, it doesn't because the Patriots, for some reason, have gotten so much like hate from the media. And obviously they're like, oh yeah, it was a great win, but they don't trust Mac Jones, or, oh yeah, blah, blah, but they only threw it 3 times a game. Like people are so blinded by what the NFL has turned into that that game almost hurt the Patriots in the media's eyes, which is crazy. But I'm going with the Patriots covering this. They've given me no reason. I think the Patriots can win the game running the ball. They can win the game passing the ball. They can win the game defensively. All 3 aspects of the game, the Patriots can win. So I have no reason to doubt that they won't cover this spread and win this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Patriots as well. I do think it is gonna be a close game. I think it really could go either way. 2 teams are playing as hot as they are right now. Adam Vinatieri is going to be there smacking the Colts horseshoe or whatever they got up there. So that's going to be fun to his 2 former teams. But I really do think it's going to be a great game, and it's going to be a really tough test for this Patriots defense. So we're going to see, like we said, like we touched on, who can be more physical and who can dominate the run game on both sides of the ball more. So I'm going to go with the Patriots covering and winning this one. I do think it's going to be tough, and I really do think it could go either way. I don't think people should underestimate this Colts team. If they have success running the football, it's going to be a long day for our defense, and that's one thing that we really don't want to see. So I'm taking the Patriots, but I do think it is going to be a close game.
Yeah, it definitely will be. And that's the thing is we hit on turnovers. It could be one turnover that changes the game. So it's going to be I agree.
Really
it's going to be very close. And one mistake can be the game.
Especially at their place. I mean, with momentum's a huge thing. Patriots are playing well on the road right now. They like being road dogs, and hopefully they can continue that streak and hopefully get a couple turnovers. Because I think if you win the turnover battle, you don't turn the ball over and you get at least one, maybe hopefully 2 turnovers, I think you win this football game. It's going to come down to which team makes the biggest mistake at the worst time, and I think it's going to be close. So whichever team makes that play is probably going to win this football game. But I mean, you think about the biggest, I'll say the 2 biggest differences between this team in the first 6 games and this team now is, first off, in those first few games, what were we saying every single time we came on this podcast? Well, defense is playing well, but those got to have it drives, they're just not doing it. Against Miami, they couldn't do it. They couldn't stop them when they needed to at the most crucial time, trying to get the ball back for the offense. They couldn't do it. A couple more games, they kind of struggled on some big drives that were kind of got to have it drives. But now you look at it, and they're making stops in the red zone. They're one of the best red zone defenses in the NFL. Even if the Colts run on us for a bunch of yards, if we stop them in the red zone and we play well in the red zone on offense, we should win this football game. So that's the defense making critical stops in the red zone and on gotta have it drives. They got to do this game. This is going to be one of the biggest factors. If they can stop this team on a gotta have it drive and give the ball back to our offense when we need it, that's going to be huge. So that, and then the other biggest thing is the offensive line. The offensive line has been playing a lot better than they were the first 6 weeks, but that's less touching on my point than what I was just mentioning.
Yeah, for sure. Well, okay, Patriots, Colts, over under 46 points. What do you got here?
I got the over. I think it's 2 good offenses. It's 2 good defenses as well, but I think the Colts offense is fit pretty well to go against the Patriots defense. I think they can do some things that are going to give the Patriots a little bit of problems, but I also think our offense is something that can give the Colts defense a little bit of problems. We can run the football. They're not bad at stopping the run. They got a bunch of guys who are really talented in that aspect, but I think through the air is kind of where we might have more success. And if they are playing zone coverage, I expect us to, I mean, this could be a similar game to what the Titans did, honestly. I mean, the Titans and the Colts pretty much want to do similar things on the offense side of the ball. You just think about the Titans have a kind of more juggernaut versions of the Colts weapons, like they have Julio Jones and A.J. Brown instead of Pittman and T.Y. Hilton. But overall, they want to establish the run game, have a good offensive line, and kill you with play action and kind of their weapons that they have over the middle. So their Colts defense might play it a lot like the Titans did. They might try to sell out on the run, say, you're not running the ball at all, let Mac beat us. And what Mac did in that Titans game was beat the Titans. He did really well, carved them up, made some really nice throws, some big plays, and JAKOBI had a big game that game. So I think that's something that we might be able to expect. I think the over in this game is what I'm going to go with.
I have the over too. The Colts averaging 34 points per game their last 3 games. Patriots, I think that the 14-point game last week obviously stunted this, but 25 points. But they're right around 26 and 28 points per game, respectively, per game. So I'm going with you over here too. I think that this is going to be a very good game. And honestly, I want our run game to succeed, but I want the Colts to be like, okay, Mac Jones beat us, because I can't believe that people are still doubting Mac Jones, that there's still this narrative around him that, oh, he can't win big games. And yeah, we haven't seen him come back from big time games and be down 14 points, but that's not how the Patriots play. The Patriots, knock on wood, are not going to let you get up 14 points because of their run game and because of their defense. That's just not how this team's built. And that's very similar to the 01, 02, 03, 04 Patriots when Brady started his dynasty. So I don't know why the narrative around him is he can't throw the ball effectively and he's got a noodle arm. Like, yeah, it might not be as strong as some guys, but we've seen beautiful touch passes. We've seen beautiful velocity passes. Like, we've seen him be able to make 95% of throws on the field effectively and win games. So I'm going with the over here too. I think that this is the game where Mac Jones starts getting respect, and he's still probably going to win Rookie of the Year, but for some reason that, 3-pass game really took the wind out of his sails, and the media started, throwing a little hate at him.
Yeah, I think if anything, they should be more impressed that we were able to win a game with 3 passes. That's insane. That hasn't happened in forever. So
Tell me any other team in the NFL that can do that. There's not one. I'm sorry. There's not one. I don't believe there's one.
I mean, no, I don't either. I mean, the best teams running the football, Ravens, Pats, Colts, Titans, but I don't think any of those other teams have the defense to hold up on the other side and win that game. So yeah, I really don't think and I don't think any team other than the Patriots has the balls to do it either. Because if you lose a game as a coach like that, only throwing the ball 3 times, your job's probably going to be on the line. You're going to be getting some phone calls the next day. But Belichick has job security; he can do whatever he wants. So yeah, I think that win was really impressive, and I think it's kind of nice, honestly. Mac kind of had 2 weeks off. I mean, long season. The college season would be basically done at this point. He's never played this many games in his career, and he just had basically 2 weeks off back to back. So hopefully he's fresh and ready to go, even though he has that terrible left thumb injury. But he showed both thumbs work very well, and he can still function. So we'll see how that holds up. But no, I got the over in this one, and then we'll move on to the score predictions. I got 27-23 Patriots. Jace has 31-27 Pats. What's your thinking on this one?
I mean, I think that the Patriots, they're a potent offense when they want to be, and it's when they get the run going, and it's when they have Mac Jones throw play action passes. We saw how good he was in play action passes, and he can be that good in drop back passes. So I think this is going to be a game where it's high scoring, and you're going to get your fair share of rushing touchdowns. But I think that Mac Jones eats. I think that Carson Wentz, I don't think he struggles because I think that he has the weapons around him, unlike he did in Philly. Outside of the Super Bowl year, but then he got hurt and didn't really finish out that year. So who knows how? About that. Yeah, I know exactly. But I think that he has enough weapons around him. Michael Pittman, T.Y. Hilton, Mo Alley Cox at tight end, Jonathan Taylor. Like, he has enough around him to do some damage. Now, I think the Patriots have the bend not break mentality, and I hope that we don't give up 27 points. But with how good this rushing offense is, I got to give them some credit and say that they're going to get some long drives and be able to punch the ball. And so I'm just going 31-27 here because you said it. It's going to be close. I'm not, naive and going to say it's going to be a blowout, but I think that there's going to be points thrown up, and I think it's going to be a very, very entertaining game.
I do as well. My only thinking, I was going to do a pretty similar score prediction to what you had, but I went a little lower. I kind of had the same thinking as you, but I went a little lower just thinking that both teams are going to want to run the ball. I think probably the Colts will run it more than we do. But overall, if the Colts have success running the football, this game could be shortened up a little bit and maybe a couple less scores. So we'll see how that, and both defenses are really good, Patriots, especially in the red zone. So maybe it'll be a little bit more field goals and touchdowns, hopefully on the Colts end. So I had it a little lower scoring, 27-23 Pats, but still tight game, 4-point game. We both have it being, it's going to be close. It's going to come right down to the wire. So it's going to be a fun one for sure. But hot takes next. Is that what's going on?
Hot takes, yes.
All right.
Pat's out. Pat Scout IG was here. I don't think he's here anymore.
Is that 2 weeks in a row? Unbelievable.
2 weeks in a row? We'll DM him and get him on here. This is ridiculous. So, but do you have one right off the top of your head?
I have one, but I'm debating between 4 different players. I'm going to go with Jawan Bentley and Kyle Duggar combining for 17 plus tackles.
Okay. A little defensive action there. I'm going to go the Patriots throw more than 3 passes this game. Is that a hot take, or does that not really qualify?
That qualifies. That's a mega hot take. Wow.
No.
I'm gonna put that as my hot take as well, actually. I'm gonna replace mine.
Then we'll both get it, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna say we get a pick 6. I think that this team keeps rolling. JC Jackson. I know that Carson Wentz has made limited mistakes, but I think that we get one off of him, and that's one of our 31 points, or 6 of our 31 points. I think that we're able to get at least one pick 6 off him and take advantage of him.
I'm gonna say RHAMONDRE has 100 total yards along with a touchdown, combined with Kendrick Bourne has 100 yards and a touchdown.
Oh, wow. So we
200-yard games and 2 touchdowns right there. How's that?
Okay, so we do finally get a 100-yard receiver, huh?
Yep. Yep, no more 98. This one's going to be 100 on the dot.
Okay, well, I've said it before, and there's no better game that I could see it. Mac Jones, 400 yards passing. It's got to happen. And if they're going to sell out for the run, let him do it. Let Mac eat. And if you're picking a 100-yard pass catcher, might as well throw for 400. So give me Mac Jones 400 yards here. It's
Just
about
400?
time that he gets it. Just 400? I mean, I would have said 6, but I don't want to be that mean to the Colts fans.
All right, that's fair enough. Well, yeah, 400. All right. Any touchdowns? What do you got? Like 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, or 400 yards, no
400
touchdowns?
yards, 2 touchdowns. A pick 6 is how we get one, and then we're going to get a rushing touchdown.
All right.
And then a field goal for my 31. There's my 31 points right there.
All right. I like it. That's all I got. You got any other ones you want to?
Nope. I think that's it. So let's move into the player bets. So we'll start off with Mac Jones over under. So these are actually from DraftKings. Since the game Saturday, we had actual lines on most of them. So Mac Jones over under 226.5 passing yards.
I'm going to go with the over on this one just because I think it's going to be in Mac's hands a little bit. So I think he'll be throwing the ball more than usual, maybe, and not relying on our running game as much. So I'm going to go with the over.
Well, as I said last time, 400.
You guys.
Yeah. I'm not going to say it again or type it again, but I'm going to go over because of my hot take. Yes, that's easy. Carson Wentz. This is very similar. 225.5 yards now. Carson Wentz, last 5 games, averaging 240. I'm sorry, that's against New England. Last 5 games, he's averaging. Where are his yards? He's got 1,000 yards, but he's hit this in only 2 games. 306 against Tampa Bay, 274 against the Jets. And then he threw for 180 against Jacksonville, 106 against Buffalo, 158 against Houston. So over or under for Carson Wentz.
Is this passing or total yards?
This is passing, sorry.
I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under on this one. I think hopefully we keep him in check a little bit. He's gone under this 3 out of the past 4 games. So I'm going to say the streak continues and our defense holds up, hopefully. And hopefully they don't run the ball a ton and run all over us. But I'm going to go with under on this one. Yeah.
I'm going to agree with you. Under. I think that this passing defense is very capable of that. So this is a total quarterback thing. Mac Jones and Carson Wentz over or under 49.5 completions.
Oh, completions. Ooh, that's a lot.
It is a lot. That's about 20. That's 25 per guy, or 30 and 20, or whatever you're going with. So I'm going to go with the over here. I think if I got Mac Jones throwing for 400 and we get it, here's my philosophy. If we get 50 plays on offense, like we did against the Bills, and we run it 20 and pass it 30, he's going to get 20. And then if we shut down Jonathan Taylor and Carson Wentz throws for 25 or throws it 40 times a game, and Mac Jones could easily, let me go back on that. I expect us to run more plays than we did against Buffalo. Our third down conversion percentage was horrible against Buffalo, and there was just consistent clock running in that game. So I expect us to run more than 50 plays. So if we split it and even 30-30 and he gets 30 passing attempts and 30 rushings, or if we go 40 and 20, like if we get that, I'm expecting Mac Jones to complete over 25, and then we'll see what Carson Wentz does. But to keep it interesting, I'm going to go with the over.
I'm going to go under. Third down efficiency for us on the year is 43%, 42% for the Colts. So honestly, it's pretty similar offenses. They are averaging more rushing yards per game. We're averaging a little bit more passing yards, but overall, pretty similar. I don't know. I feel like that's a lot for completions. It kind of depends. One guy, if the Colts have a ton of success running the ball, Carson Wentz might have 20 passes and complete 15 of them, or 14 of them. So that might drop it a lot. I think it's, I don't know. It feels like it's high to me, but if you think about it, one quarterback has 28 completions or whatever, it's going to be a lot easier for the next. So I'm going to go under, but I think it's going to be closer than I originally thought.
All right. Mac Jones touchdowns over 1.5. I already said I have the over. I think he gets 2, so I have the over.
I'm going to go over as well. He's got to make up for his 0 last week, so he wants to get at least 3 or 4 this week. So I'm going to go with the over on this. I think he'll have 2 as well.
Yes. RHAMONDRE Stevenson, 70.5 total yards right here. We expect Damien Harris to be a little limited. So RHAMONDRE getting the bulk of the carries and still some passing work. So over or under 70.5 total yards.
Well, I have him as 100 yards total. So I got to go with the over on this. I think he'll have a decent game. My only concern a little bit is, first off, we don't know how limited Damian Harris will be, but also Darius Leonard as a linebacker. RHAMONDRE has been really good at catching passes out of the backfield and making the first defender miss. And if that's Darius Leonard, I think the chances of him making a miss are a little bit lower than a normal linebacker. So that's one thing I'm a little bit concerned of. Maybe his yards after the catch aren't as impressive this game as they have been in the past, but I'm still going to go with the over and be confident on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the over too. I agree. I think that, his pass catching and rushing ability is too great, especially with the question mark of Damian Harris. So Jonathan Taylor, 93.5 rushing yards for Jonathan Taylor.
I'm going to go over. Hopefully it's 94, because that wouldn't qualify as 100, and that wouldn't make them 8-0 with 100. So I'm going to go with the over, though. His last few games, 143, 83, 185, 116, 172, 70, 107, 145, 53, 103. He's hit 100 yards rushing every game except like 4, 5, 6, something like that. And especially recently, 4 out of his last 5 games, he's been over 100 yards, and a couple of them have been pretty significantly over 100 yards. So I know Bill likes to take away your best weapon, but I honestly don't know if we're going to be able to contain him to under 100 rushing yards. He's so talented, and this offensive line is insane. So it's going to be a very tough challenge.
Well, I'm going to have faith. I'm going to go under. I think it's close to 90, but I'm going to go under. If it was 93.5 total yards, for sure, because he is very, very good out of the backfield catching the ball too. And they use Nyheim Hines, but this is the guy that the Colts want the ball in his hands. So, but I'm going to go under here. You said it. I think that they've been game planning for him for a while. They know the stat that when he gets over 100 rushing yards, that they're, very, very good, and they win. What they say they're undefeated, right?
7-0, yeah, so far.
They're gonna want to change that. So I'm gonna go with the under here. JAKOBI Meyers, 44.5 receiving yards.
I'm going to go over just because I think we're going to have to pass the ball, and hopefully JAKOBI's on the receiving end of that, along with KB and all those guys. I think we're going to have to throw the ball, and JAKOBI's due for another good game. He's been really good this year, and especially if they play zone coverage, he seems to have a knack for finding the soft spots in zones a little bit. He did a great job against the Titans. He had a big game. So similar game plan from the Colts as the Titans, then I think JAKOBI might have another big day.
I agree. I'm going to go with the over here. I think, we've said it. I've said it. I have a big day from Mac Jones, and JAKOBI Meyers gets open more than anyone. And so I'm going to go with over. Michael Pittman Jr., over or under 58.5 receiving yards.
My gut says under. I'm gonna go under. I don't love it, just because I think if they get their play action game going, it's going to be a lot harder for us to keep him under this. But I think if JC Jackson's manned up at all on Pittman, I don't love the size advantage Pittman has, but he's a really good corner, and Pittman's not a top 5, top 10 receiver. He's played really well this year. He's having a good year, but he's not in that category where I'm really worried about him breaking the game open too much. But if they get that play action running with a good run game, it's going to open things up a lot for him, and I'd see him going over that. If JT has like 120 yards rushing, I think we see Pittman go over the 60 here.
Yeah, I'm going to go under too. I love JC Jackson. I think he's going to get it done, and this is their only threat in the passing game. So I think Bill focuses on him more, and if he's one-on-one with JC Jackson, I'm not giving him 60 yards. So I'm going to go with the under here. All right, Chiefs, Chargers. We're in our spread picks right here. This game is currently going on right here, but Chiefs -3. What do you have?
I got the Chiefs. I'm not betting against them anymore. I've retired from doing that 2 weeks in a row. Didn't work out. I'm done. I'm done doing it. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Chargers are currently up. Chargers should be up by more, and I'm rooting heavy for the Chargers because Chiefs are currently tied with the Patriots. So we're all Chargers fans tonight, but the Chargers should be up by they're up by 1 right now. So they should be up by 7 if they would have kicked the 2 field goals instead of going for it on 4th and goal twice. So is what it is, but I'm rooting for the Chargers, but I'm going with the Chiefs in my pick right here.
I've continued to hate on the Chiefs, and I'm going to continue it right here. I'm going with the Chargers. I just love Justin Herbert. I think that he's very capable, and we've seen the Chargers do it against the Chiefs before. They've been very up and down all year, but against the Chiefs, they seem to play their best football, and they've had chances today to be up by more. So I chose this game before. I hope you guys know we choose these games before. We don't look at the Thursday night score and then do it. But I've always had faith in the Chargers, and I'm going to go with them covering this here.
Is Chris Jones is out, right?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Just COVID?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. It's just the Chiefs have not been able to stop the run. And that's one thing that in the playoffs makes the matchup a little bit easier. If they're going against a running team, it's going to be tough for them. But Chris Jones is a big factor in them stopping the run and creating pressure up the middle as well. So I think it's not going to be as easy as that if Chris Jones is in. But I hope the Chargers win, man. Me too. We need the Chargers to win this one. That'd be big. That'd create a little bit of separation from the top of the AFC. We'd still be tied with the Titans, but we'd have a chance to, if the Titans lost this weekend to the Steelers, then we'd have a chance to go. If we win, we'd have a chance to go one game up on the AFC, and that's big. But it's going to be tough. We got to just focus on winning our game in general, and the rest will take care of itself. But we control our own destiny. We win out. We're the number one seed in the AFC, so just got to take it one game at a time and focus on that.
For sure. Titans, Steelers, you just said it. We want the Steelers to win this game, but who do you have? Yep. Titans are a 1-point favorite.
Steelers fan this weekend, but going with the Titans. I think the Titans are good. They just got back Julio Jones. I don't think AJ Brown, I think, is eligible to come back next week. But just overall, the Titans, they've been winning football games. The Steelers stink. Steelers are terrible. I think midway through the season, people were hyping them up a little bit too much, and I kind of never believed in them. And I think that's something we talked about at one point on here. But I'm gonna go with the Titans on this one. I think they win, and I'm so kind of surprised that it's only a 1-point spread.
Yeah, I'm gonna believe. I have a buddy that's a Steelers fan, and Big Ben showed hints of him being decent, and being a little bit back. So I'm gonna believe. What?
Against the Vikings?
The comeback part. Obviously they lost it still, but I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh here. I don't love it, but maybe I'm picking all the teams I want to win, and then when they don't win, it
breaks your heart even more.
That's
why I'm picking all the teams that I want to lose, because, like we've talked about before, if the Titans win, I at least get the spread prediction right. If they lose, I'm extremely happy because the Steelers won, and that creates some separation in the standings. But I talked to a Vikings fan during that, right after that Vikings game, and apparently that is very typical of them all year, is playing really well and then just finding ways to almost lose the game or lose the game. So I don't know how much stock I put into that on the Steelers as much as just the Vikings being horrible in the second half and finding ways to lose. So even though they won, but I don't trust the Steelers. Chase Claypool is an absolute bomb. I mean, what are you doing? Like, come on. No time left in the game, basically, and you're celebrating the first down. Put the ball on the ground, give it to the ref, get back on the line of scrimmage and try to win the game. They would have had an extra play. They might have won the football game if it wasn't for his stupidity in that situation. So that was terrible. Chase Claypool, get your crap together. Come on, man. That's going to be on his segment. So 4:05 game here. Bengals, Broncos. Broncos 2.5-point favorite. This is crazy to me. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm going Bengals covering this. Me as well. Even though I picked the Bengals last week and they just played like crap and got smacked by the Chargers 2 weeks ago. But I'm going to go with the Bengals as well. I was surprised they were underdogs in this game. That kind of shocks me, but it is what it is. We'll take it. I'm going to go with the Bengals as well.
All right, Sunday night football here. Saints at BUCS. BUCS 11. I did not know this was the spread right here. That's crazy.
Bengals win this. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Saints at BUCS. Yikes. It's a big spread. Yikes. Division game, Sunday night football. I'm going to go with the BUCS winning. But I'm going to say the Saints cover. That's a big spread for a divisional game on Sunday night football, even though the Saints kind of are struggling without Jameis, which is kind of hilarious to say, but they beat the Jets last week. Kamara's back. I'm going to say they cover this one, but the BUCS still win.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the BUCS covering here. I mean, obviously Brady's there, and I hate big spreads because they've bit me in the butt way too many times. But I don't like to bet against Brady, and I'm going to go with the BUCS here. Show that they're the best team in the NFC on Sunday Night Football against a pretty dang good Saints defense. Not a good team, but it's good Saints defense and one that can do that has given them fits in the past. So I'm going to go with the BUCS here. I'm going to agree that he gets his revenge on the Saints, and so I'm going to go with the Bucs. Vikings, Bears, Vikings, 5.5 point underdog or favorite. We just talked about the Vikings here, and here we go.
Vikings love playing one-score football games, so I kind of want to go with the Bears covering, but I'm going to stick with the Vikings. I just think, I don't know. The Bears did play well that first half, but I don't know. The Vikings have a really good offense, and if they can get their defense together for 2 halves, I think they should be able to win this game by more than 1 score. I don't love it though because they really love playing tight games, but I'm going to go with it. Kind of go against my gut a little bit, but I'm going to go with the Vikings.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Bears then. I don't know why, but I'm going to go with Justin Fields and the defense, Khalil Mack and Khalil Herbert, those guys. I'm going to go with the Bears here at home, Soldier Field, Monday Night Football. This is a conference game too. I'm going to go with the Bears.
Yeah, I got Vikings here, but Vikings, yeah, they seem to like to choke almost every game. Their roster on paper seems pretty good. Their offense is stacked. Their defense has some players, but the Vikings are getting healthy again. They got some of their defenders back for that last game against Pittsburgh. I don't know what happened in the second half, but Vikings, they are playing worse than they are. They're a better team than they've played like overall. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know what it is, but they just can't seem to play a full game. If they could, they'd be one of the best teams in the NFC, in my opinion, because they do have a ton of talent. It's just, it hasn't really showed up.
Yeah, it hasn't. And I mean, Justin Jefferson's been great all year, and Kirk Cousins is capable, and Dalvin Cook has been injury prone, but he's awesome. And so, yeah, I'm going to go Vikings here also. So
I agree. Saturday's game. You got anything else on any of those games or whatever?
No, I don't. I'm just excited. Obviously, a big game Saturday. It got flexed into this position. It's going to be fun. It's going to be 8:15, Saturday night, and then you get to enjoy Sunday. Hopefully, happy and watching these other teams lose as the Patriots get an extra game up. So I'm excited to watch it coming off of a bye, what the Patriots have, and to see what Mac Jones has after he kind of got some criticism and after the Bills game. So go Patriots. We'll see you guys Saturday. That's all I got.
Yeah, for sure. And if you guys haven't already voted for the Pro Bowl, this is the last night to do it, I believe. So vote for the Patriots players in the Pro Bowl, and we'll see you guys Saturday night. I'm excited. I like Saturday night football games just because. Well, I like the Patriots playing on Saturday night because that gives me a Patriots game to watch, and then Sunday I can watch stress-free and root for the teams I want to, watch my fantasy team, all that fun stuff. So I like being able to watch the Patriots on a primetime game outside of all the other NFL games. So
yes,
that's fun. But this weekend, go Pats, go Chargers tonight, go Steelers. Other than that, I don't know what other teams we got to root for, but I know those 3 for sure: Patriots, Chargers, Steelers. Rooting for all those 3.
Who are the Bills playing?
Bills play the Panthers. They're not going to lose.
Go Panthers. Go Cam
Panthers.
Newton. Cam Newton.
Revenge game for that fumble last year.
Help us out, Cam.
He definitely won't. He'll definitely help the Bills out. And
he'll definitely get benched by some no-name.
For sure. At least 3 times throughout the game because they want to put him back in and then bench him again just to say, hey, we gave you 2 chances and we benched you again because you suck. So
they think it's a feel-good story, so they put him back in, but it's really not.
And then they put him back on the bench. I'm rooting for Cam. I do wish him the best. I like him a lot. I thought his attitude was good here. We've talked about this before, but I am rooting for him. Sam Darnold is back. Probably get a bench for him. He might. We'll see how he performs. But hopefully the Panthers pull one off. That'd be cool. As of tonight, root for the Chargers, vote for the Pro Bowl, all that good stuff. But anything else before we head out?
I think that's it.
All righty. Well, we see you guys Saturday night after the game. I think that's all we got. So we'll see you guys then. Oops.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Patriots Drive podcast. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with all things New England Patriots. Make sure you tune in to the next episode and check out patriotsdrive.com for more great content.
We're on to Cincinnati.